Yeah. So like I was just saying, the thing that's like a little frustrating with it is the new Eventide added speed crystals. Same thing with Slayer. Slayer, the new bounty system in Slayer is freaking was awesome. I think if they had just added that to normal Slayer, got rid of Azure Plateau, and kept the score at 75, Slayer would have been freaking perfect. Dropping the score down to 20, I don't know. If 75 was still too much, maybe 50, but 20 makes it end real fast. Um, the other thing I was noticing with it was like when I saw Slayer, the new one, I said, why not call that one Bounty Hunter and bring back Classic Slayer and let us play that too? That got thumbs down. I'm not understanding the concept of having more modes. Like people hate the idea of more modes. I don't get that. Like even if people don't enjoy this version of Eventide, some people do. And to me, it plays so differently. It actually is a different mode. It's not Eventide. You're not getting a tide of events. You're not getting multiple rounds of events happening over and over again. What you're literally getting is 4 events, and then we're trying to reach 30,000. And by the time we reach the fourth event, we're already close to 30,000 anyway. We're literally 10,000 away in most cases. Sometimes we can end the game before we end Flashpoint. That's how fast you can score 30,000. So it's weird. It's the same problem. It's always like it feels like they're testing out stuff and changing things that nobody wants changed. Like when I heard that we're gonna do weapons balancing, I was excited. When I saw what they did with weapons balancing, I hated it. And the reason I hated it was the idea they claimed was they were making archetypes of weapons feel different. But in reality, what they did was they made a lot of weapons feel similar, and specific weapons inside each archetype now became the best weapon in that type, and that's the only one you'd play. Like battle rifles, there's only 2 battle rifles to play. Sincerity, because of its level 1 infusion, and it's got the best range after the Tetrad. After its level 1 infusion, the Tetrad is probably the best gun in the damn game. After its level 1 infusion. And its range is sick. It's it has range that rivals most of the it beats its range beats most rocket launchers. Rocket launchers ranges are 12. Of Tetrad's range is 12.8. Tetrad range used to be 11.8. For some bizarre reason, they gave an extra meter. I don't get it, but it's a battle rifle. Honestly, it should have just been 11.8, and rocket launchers should still have been able to beat it comfortably. But for some bizarre reason, they're like, nah, man, Tetrad should kick rocket launchers' asses too. I don't get it. But the reason Tetrad probably has the best infusion in the game. As you remove health from an opponent, the more damage the Tetrad does. That is probably hands down the best infusion in the game. There is no infusion that works that well. I can't tell you another infusion that makes a mediocre weapon becomes a dominant weapon. And the funny thing about the Tetrad is it's hard to play, but it was always good. You always have to play it at a distance. Tetrad sucked up close. It's still dangerous to play it up close now too. It's just that that infusion, as the health of your opponent disappears, the Tetrad gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's just like it's a no brainer to run the Tetrad whenever you can. It's a no brainer. Like it is the best gun with a 1-star infusion in the game. Next best sniper rifle, I mean battle rifle, is this gun. Why? Look at its range, 10.6. Why would I use the commotion? Oh, it can do more damage, but it has way less range. Why do I want to be up close to try to kill you? Where I can kill you comfortably at a distance. And if I'm using any healing capability at its level 1 infusion, I get a damage boost for like 6 seconds. So why would I use this? Look, they both have, what do you call it, 15 move speed and 20 walk speed. They both have it. I don't think 78 more damage is worth me losing all that range, where everything else is about the same. Oh my god, it's 0.1 second faster in reload. Huh? It's like, so the Commotion was a gun I used to play all the time with its partner, the Dispatch. They both were Rangers. That was part of my Ranger build, a super fast build with two guns that don't have crazy amount of range, but together they did so much damage per second. They were like firing a laser at stuff. It could melt the health off massive targets super fast. Now it's just as similar as both of these guns. I believe it was the second fastest battle rifle back in the day. And what separated the Sincerity from it was Sincerity had better health than it did. So Sincerity had its own niche. It was a medium speed battle rifle for your speed, but it also gave you more health. So it was decent. It was different. This was the longest range battle rifle, but it gave you the most speed, and it has the fastest reload of all the battle rifles. It just wasn't very strong compared to all the other battle rifles. Its job was to fight things at a distance with a battle rifle. That was what it was for. That's what it did. So it had a purpose also. And certain speed builds I would use this over that. That was it, man. Like, that's the problem. Every weapon before they did 0.13 actually felt different. 0.13 also removed health and speed from most weapons. Oh yeah, man. And also lightning guns. Those would be good too. Like, I would love a lightning flamethrower, or like a chain gun. I mean a lightning gun, a gun that shoots chain lightning. That would be really neat. But I mean, right now, since they started making everybody have, like, why are battle rifles still better than say why are battle rifles much better than, let's say assault rifles? In the primary, assault rifles, their damage sucks. This gun's damage used to be 431. How do I know? It's the first one I made level 20. That's how much I like this gun. This gun started out originally at 32 at 0.2. They dropped it down to 26 by 0.3. By 0.4, it dropped down to 18. But it could do 431 damage. So even at 18 shots, it still was a great gun. It was actually almost as strong as a as a Renegade. It's just that it was a primary. It had less bullets and didn't shoot as fast. Renegade shot faster. But when I used to play Renegade before the heavy nerfs on the Renegade, Renegade, when it got heavy nerfed, and this gun, even though the Renegade beat it out damage per second, this gun played better for me than a Renegade. Now, I don't play this gun at all. I don't play this gun at all. Soft Thunder, while good, it's so damn slow, and it slows you down while using it. I'd rather play the Orthotic Generator at all times. But out of guns I can play, I can still play the Soft Thunder. Problem with Soft Thunder is I can't play it with a controller. I can't play the Orthotic Generator with a controller either. Because of what they decided to do with the controls where you gotta aim them. Like, one of the fun things about these guns are, before 0.13, you could play them with controller or without controller. They always targeted at their max range. Now with after 0.14, they got rid of their max range targeting and they make them target on top of the player. How does that make any sense? Why would I want to target myself with a mortar? That's what it does. Bizarre. Totally useless. So to have to always be aiming it, like, that's what's the problem with the heavy mortars. Back in the good old days, the heavy mortars, if you were playing with a controller, heavy mortars could shoot in the same spot over and over again, and it auto-aimed for you. Now, every time you fire your heavy mortar, you have to aim it to its max distance before you fire, allowing no double shots. And because the problem is, you'll shoot, and then when you shoot again, it falls on top of you. Real bad. Like there's a lot of guns that I don't play anymore. I can play sniper rifles. I don't play them anymore in general, simply because they're super slow now. You're super slow when you're playing a sniper rifle, and their miss rate is like 33%. You only hit around 66% of the time. They miss a lot, even when you're aiming. That's not fun. I literally, if I'm playing with a controller, which is the best way to play sniper rifles, I hurt my hand because I have to keep doing so much movement and shooting and clicking and shooting. It's just not even fun. Before, even though I had to do a lot of shooting, my accuracy was in the 80% with this gun. The auto aim was really good. You lose 20% of your shots, but 80% would hit. You're now down to 66% of your shots, 33% are missing. And they have ridiculously long reload times. And you can barely move. And then I also found out the sniper banner sucks. Sniper banner works with deals increased damage as a hero when no enemies are within 9 meters of you. So it's not that what you're firing at is 9 meters away from you. Is there anybody near you within 9 meters? And when they say no enemy, what counts as an enemy? Neutral? Or only the players, or the hero, the human form of the players? Whether they're bots or human? Because I'm pretty sure it means anything that can hurt you is an enemy. So if there's anything within you 9 meters of you at any time, you don't get double damage. Or you don't get the increased bonus. What the hell kind of banner is that? This is definitely the worst banner in the game. It's gotta be. Like, here's the other funny one. So the opposite of that. The assassin. If I can even find an assassin weapon, right, there's only one. So the assassin is the opposite. If there's any enemy within 6 meters of you, let's say you drop a vital mine that's like halfway across the map. Halfway across the map, if there's a creature next to you, a person runs across that vital mine, they take the sniper, they take the assassin bonus. What? That's how that works. So this is like the OP, and this is like the super weak. It doesn't make sense. When Zekin said that it works the way it's described, I'm like, how is that even useful? How does this banner even make any sense? It's pointless. You're gonna tell me 90% of the time there isn't something around you when you're firing the gun? 90% of the time? You can't really fight overseers and guardians and imperial guardians with this thing, because every time those stupid spitters come, you lose your bonus. Horrible. One of the worst banners in the game. It makes Primal Hunter seem like a great banner. And Primal Hunter's also broken. It only works on primals. Only. And if people are not primal all the time, you're screwed. Like this new Eventide, the only reason Primal Hunter works is because your health bar is insanely huge. If it wasn't for that, this it's hard to play. And the problem is, anytime humans start tracking you down and people start chasing you, if you can't run away effectively, you're screwed because you cannot fight anything head on. Anything decides to close in on you, shotguns, you're dead. Sniper rifles aiming at you at distance, you're dead because you don't reach them anymore because your mortars, even your heavies, can't reach a sniper rifle anymore. Horrible idea. That was one of the balancing things that they did in 13. They made all mortars have the exact same range, heavy or standard. How does that make any sense? Before, mortars could counter snipers. Now you can't do anything. You can't really counter a sniper unless you gap close. To literally change the game, to give you less options, and to make things play worse, and this literally had rock, scissors, paper all over it. At 0.12, almost every gun could be countered by some combination of more than one weapon. More than one weapon could actually beat almost every other weapon. The way it's been redesigned, 1 to 2 weapons in specific classes can beat another weapon. That's it. So I'm not sure how that was an improvement in any way. Then they did Guns Blazing. While it's nice to be able to shoot and it feels amazing and looks great while you're shooting, why am I slowing myself down every time I take a shot? Yeah, look, I stopped using Avalanche. The same patch you stopped using the Lumio Arrival. I can still use Lumio Arrival because at least that detonation radius is something. But I remember when that thing used to have a 16.5 range. Holy crap. That thing used to be able to kill you from out of nowhere. It was sick. It was a really good weapon. I think I had it for 2 patches before they changed it to this thing. And I mean, the first time 0.13 came out, its range was only 10. It gained 1 meter. But to me, how the hell are the heavy mortars are not like 13 plus? Like the minimum should be 14 for heavies. Heavies are not the same as primaries. They're not. That's the point. You got to pick up ammo for them. That's what makes them different. So it's super bizarre. It's super, super, super weird. That's all I can say. Like, I cannot use this weapon anymore because the range sucks so bad. I think it dropped from 15 to 10 to 11. I cannot use Avalanche at all. Like, I try and I expect to hit things and it is falling in front of them. And I'm just like, why the heck? I have to literally run in to get the Avalanche to hit stuff. The idea was to be able to stay away to get the Avalanche to hit stuff, not get closer to get the Avalanche to hit stuff. That defeats the purpose of it being a mortar. It sucks. Somehow, the Demiloon still plays well. The Avalanche does not, the Demiloon does. But the Demiloon got its damage reduced too, which was really, really weird. Its damage got reduced. Yeah. Mutiny Song is probably better. I just don't like the fact that I don't get the explosion until I get the 1-star infusion. I think it sucks. That to me is just horrible. The Hellstrom plays really well. I don't get it having 3 shot counts. To go from 8 to 3 feels like trash. I think we should have dropped it down to 6 or bring it down to 5. But 3 is just... The gun doesn't feel the same anymore. And its issues weren't that the shot counts was too much. Its issues were its range was too long. and it fired really fast. That was its problem. To this massive nerf and minor buff does not make this gun play better. It's okay. It's still alright. It's just it changed the whole feel of the gun, the way it fires, the way it reacts. It doesn't feel right. It feels off. The Art Mandrel was actually buffed, I think. Because the shot count used to be 5 times 2. So now it's 7 times 2. So this thing got buffed. Like the 5 they took away from the triplane, they put 4 of them onto the Art Mandrel. Not sure why. That wasn't the Art Mandrel's problem. It was never the problem. The problem Art Mandrel had versus the triplane was triplane's range was like a freaking battle rifle. It had battle rifle range, and it was a shotgun that was heavy. That was its problem. Like, I mean, people used to run around and just empty the whole clip at people and just shoot into the wild and hit 60% of the shots would still hit you because the cone is so narrow. So what you would have done to fix this gun without completely destroying it, widen the cone and reduce the range. So less of the shots automatically clustered and hit a target. That was its issue. Cone was too narrow and its range was too long. That's the fix. This thing they did, that wasn't a fix. This thing they did for this thing was not a fix. You literally, what they keep doing is they literally change the guns. And it's the same problem I'm seeing with the dispatch, right? The dispatch is unplayable in this fashion. It's unplayable. I tried it. The dispatch, its claim to fame was alternating fire with the commotion. Those two guns together fired in a way that if I fired the commotion and then fired the dispatch, there was no gap in between the shots. There was zero gap between their shots. They filled the reactivation delay perfectly. So what happens is a stream of bullets consistently kept hitting you. This went from 9 to 3. And they reduced everything, but they didn't bring up the damage. How does that make any sense? 3 is already ridiculous for a battle rifle, but the damage stayed the same? You really don't want anybody to use that gun. Mission accomplished. Nobody uses this gun at all. It's useless. It's utterly useless. People are like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not. Because you got to constantly be getting ammo for it because it runs out of ammo so fast. It doesn't have offensive entombment. Like, this was another strange one. This used to have 8 shots. They brought it down to 4. But yet, it still has offensive entombment. Huh? What? Like, this doesn't make any sense either. What was cool about Negate Siren is Negate Siren was a gun, was one of probably the fastest shooting sniper rifles in the game because of the way its infusions work and just how much faster you could shoot it compared to any other sniper rifle. And it had a lot of shots. Dropping it to 4 is weird. And still having offensive entombment makes no sense. If you're going to do that, then why doesn't the Avalanche, why doesn't the Demiloon, why doesn't the Hellstrom, why don't they all have offensive entombment as an option? Why can't I just automatically stand around and just get ammo? 4 doesn't seem like a lot of ammo for that to be working. The reason it used to have it was because it had 8. So, weird concepts, man. I have not played it. I tried it and never played it again because the bullets run out too fast. So you're standing there. Here's the problem too. They have steadily and slowly, like I said, patch by patch, every patch I've played, the primaries have gotten weaker again. They've been reducing effectiveness of primaries. The only reason primaries even play okay in this patch is what they did in Eventide with that double damage stuff. The double damage makes all the guns feel right. Every gun feels like a powerhouse when they're double damaged. So isn't that telling you something, that your weapons are too weak? All your weapons are underpowered. Because only at double damage does your weapons feel right. That's just weird. Every weapon at double damage feels good. That means currently every weapon is hitting too softly, specifically primaries. That's what you got. That's literally what they built. And I don't understand it. Like, people like, oh, I don't like this individual stuff. Get out of here. Eventide has always been an individual game for me. It's always been. My point is, I'm individually trying to keep my team score really close to the opposing team score, or surpassing the opposing team score by a lot. That's how I've always played. I don't run it with anyone. I run by myself. That's how I've always played Eventide. Almost every mode is that way. I've learned to play every mode by myself as if nobody else was playing with me. Why? Because we don't have a lot of people on the server. So you have to understand the mode inside and out. So yeah, when you create a whole mode and tell me individual, what do you call it, individual heroism, it's gonna work perfectly for me because it's how I've always played. I don't play teams. The problem is, when we play teams, if I play with good people, we just mow the game down. We crush the opposing side. It's not even close. If I'm playing by myself, I used to be able to play 5 people by myself in Core Rush. 2 people in Core Rush, I can't beat you. 3 people, I'm definitely losing. 2 people in Core Rush, I have a 10% chance of winning. That's all I got. I used to have a win rate of like 80 with, what do you call it, with 5 people. If there were 2 veterans and 3 new guys, I could still beat you in Core Rush by myself. That's how strong primaries used to be. Because I would outposition you, and I would be able to outmove you with my primaries and my heavies. I could basically hold you off. And I'm talking about when chain guns suck. I learned how to play chain guns when the Finlay only had 14 shots, and the Splintered Fate only had 32 shots. And to spin it up, you had to tap to spin that thing up. I used to be able to hold down games by myself with those 2 guns. So I can tell you after 0.6, it's been downhill trajectory for heavies. It got back good at 0.9. It got back, it was decent at 12, and then steadily going down since 12. Ever since 12, everything's been getting weaker and weaker and weaker game by game. My first time I used the Brighton at level 0, at 0 stars at level 6, is actually more effective than my 5-star Brighton is currently by itself. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. I don't get that. But that's how it feels. If I'm not double damaging with that Brighton, I don't feel comfortable fighting a person in a 1v1 without heavy. So that's not, whatever, man. I mean, it's their decision, but I keep saying it. If you telling me primaries are your main workhorse, that's the weapon I gotta use the most. If I can't even fight off 2 people by myself with just primary ammo, it's not a workhorse then. It's really a secondary weapon. I always have to have heavy because that's the primary. That's the one that can really do damage and save my life. Like, how do I kill people? Renegade. That's what kills people. It's not the flamethrower. It's the Renegade crushing people. Not the flamethrower. So which is the primary weapon then? The one that does the most damage and takes out most people. Your heavy, not your primary. Your heavy is your primary, and your primary is your secondary. It's the one that you use when you have nothing else. It's sort of like, remember when you play, if you're playing a first-person shooter, you know when you run out of all your ammos and you got to use your pistol? That's what your primary weapon is. It's your pistol. The one that's really weak, that you can kill stuff with, but it's going to take a long time, and you're like, damn, where's the ammo? That's what you're looking for. Your primary is your pistol. Infinite ammo, not a lot of power. So I'm hoping they figure it out because, like I said, Eventide, it has this version. I hope it's a test, and I hope they just put back the other one and take the good things from here and move it back into the original Eventide. Speed up the original Eventide game.